Honestly, you cannot get onto social media nowadays and not hear someone telling you to trust your gut, trust your gut. Um, I've given that advice for years, and I want to backtrack a little bit. As a trained monk, an abbot of a Taoist lineage, of someone who's done all this trust your gut work, it's not always the best advice. And I want to make sure that I qualify what trust your gut means and what it doesn't mean, because you can have a feeling of anxiety, of restlessness coming from crashed blood sugar. You could be overcaffeinated. You can be reacting to some cologne. You could be reacting to mold in a room. You can have all sorts of kind of instinctive, fear driven emotional signaling that is also telling your gut it's not safe, get out of here, this isn't where I need to be. And those things can get you out of a situation that's ugly. Yes, 100% trust your gut on that. But if you are making a decision on some other thing, right? Like, hey, I have to decide what's the right sport for my kid, right? But I'm in a state of disarray. I'm not feeling safe. I am feeling challenged. I'm feeling emotionally compromised. And I look at two pieces of data and say, okay, I'm just going to pick this one, right? Because I need to get out of here, right? What you just got yourself out of is maybe an entire trajectory where your kid would have been better off in basketball than football. But because you were not in the mood to deduce and sink and settle and think and weigh and measure in that moment, you made a instinctive decision based on a feeling that had nothing to do with basketball or football, but it had everything to do with your kid's future. And you did so in a very happenstance way. And that ends up being a very big issue in the culture that we live in, because over the years, trust your gut, trust your gut. This is advice, it's very personal development. It's the type of advice a monk would give, right? Um, I've seen it backfire on a number of students and patients when they're coming from this place, yet making decisions that don't have to do with getting out of that situation. Also, there are certain instincts that come from cultivation. There are certain ways of being that allow you to tap into the depth of your innate wisdom, that give you access to this stream of consciousness that is indeed wise, that is indeed filled with love and light and purity, and allows for you to make good decisions. And that comes with a certain degree of cultivation, right? And so if you're a person who's just, coming off of a bad career, a bad breakup, a bad relationship, a bad bean burrito, and suddenly you're thinking that your trust the gut is the same as the Dalai Lama's trust the gut, um, maybe it isn't, right? Maybe the years of cultivating the relationship with the inner self allows for a portal to understand what that state of consciousness feels like and where that essential truth resides, and not just thinking I came off of a sugary cereal and had an espresso and then needed some more snacks in the break room, and my reactive, impulsive mood is the same trust your gut as someone who's sat there and worked on cultivating the depth of that relationship with their inner self. Now, does that mean you shouldn't do that? Absolutely not. It means you should cultivate the relationship with your inner self. It means you need to dig deeper and find the source of that innate wisdom, understand when you are in that state, and understand that the decisions, the gut driven decisions that come from that inner state oftentimes tend to be more wise, more thorough, um, and more inspired, if you will, right? So what I'm doing is I'm drawing a distinction between these moods and these feelings and the true depth of what that trust your gut means. And for you to be able to tether into those inner states and develop a relationship with your essential true self and understand that that, yes, is wise. Whereas the other stuff, maybe not. Maybe not. I hope this helps clarify. If you have questions, put in the chat thread here. This is something that's kind of an ongoing conversation that's happening with students in my Urban Monk Academy, because again, the trite title cards are all over the internet. There's, new gurus every day that are throwing out information and regurgitating and, recycling stuff that's been said for thousands of years and putting their name on it. That's not necessarily helpful unless it applies in a way that advances your life in a better way, right? It all sounds fine, but at the end, when push comes to shove, did this decision further your life in a way that was a net positive, or were you just trying to get through and make a decision quickly because you didn't feel like being there? Think about it. Let me know what you think. I'll see you around.